like she always do. But I got a little grand reveal for y'all. Through them with the spoolie as I go, just to make sure my product doesn't build up and get.
I just MailChimp my marketing.
You MailChimp your what?
I MailChimp my marketing with AI to...
Once I have one eyebrow cleaned up, I'm just gonna buff the top. Going back in with a little bit more of that dark brown to deepen up her crease. Now I'm cutting her crease, and to cut her crease, I'm using my e.l.f. Camo Concealer in the shade Medium Sand. I really love this concealer, y'all. The only thing about it is if you're using it, you got to make sure that you move fast because this concealer is very matte and it dries very quick. So if you're not used to using it, make sure you take precautions. Now that my cut creases are even, I'm just going back in and buffing out that concealer just to make sure there aren't any wrinkles or any creases on her lids before we start applying the shadows. And for my next eyeshadow palette, I'm going to be taking the Beauty Treats Free Spirit palette, and I'm going in with that burgundy and that orange shade, and I'm just applying them to the edge of her cut crease. First, I'm working my way in with that burgundy. Unfortunately, I could not find a link to this palette for y'all. I'm not sure if they discontinued it or not because I purchased mine out of one of my local drugstores. I don't know which one. But I know after I went back, they had some more in stock. So I'm not sure if it's discontinued or not. But as you can see, I went in with the burgundy. Now I'm going back in with whatever black shade is left on that eyeshadow brush just to further blend them. Then I'm going to be packing some more burgundy on top of it just because I wanted it to be very seen and I wanted it to pop. Y'all are going to see why later on in the end. Now I'm going in with that vibrant orange shade that I pointed out, and I'm going to be applying it in front of that burgundy shade. As you can see, I went in with a blending brush first. Now I'm just going in with my e.l.f. eyeshadow brush just to make sure I get close up on my cut crease line and fill in every nook and cranny. I forgot to show this on camera, but I ended up taking a... I'm taking some of that black eyeshadow that we used in the beginning just to blend out the end of my liner. Now we're getting into lashes, and these are the style that I'm taking. I got these lashes off AliExpress, and I cut them to fit her eyes off camera. Now I'm just applying them to her eyes, and the glue that I like to use is my Brush On Clear I Envy eyelash glue. You can find it at your local beauty supply store, but y'all already know I had to bust out my 25mm lashes because my girl loves her some long big blinks, and I think they look so cute on her. So yeah, I'm just applying them to her eyes, and as you can see, they popping, girl. They pretty cute or whatever.
So nice, Amashi.
I already moisturized her skin off camera. Now I'm just going in with my calamine lotion, and I'm applying it onto her face so that it can mattify her skin. And I'm just working it around the perimeter of her face. If you do not have your client's exact foundation, this combination will work perfect for you. I always find one that's one shade too light and one that's one shade too dark, because once you mix them together, it'll just balance each other out and create the perfect shade. So I know a lot of y'all have recognized that I don't have to use too many different foundation shades in my client tutorials, and this is why. Now I'm just going to buff out this product using my foundation brush, and as you can see, I'm lightly pressing it into her skin. Make sure when you get into the face application that you are as light-handed as possible so that you do not shift any of your products. To contour her face, I'm going to be using my Juvia's Place foundation stick, and it's in the shade Congo. And I'm just going to dot it along her forehead and her cheekbones. To highlight her face, I'm going to be using that same Arcade by Kiss concealer that I used to clean up under her eyebrows, and it's in the shade Toffee. While the concealer is sitting, I'm just going to proceed to blend out her contour, and to blend it out, I'm using my damp Real Technique sponge. To set her contoured areas in place, I'm using my Black Radiance contour palette, the dark to deep one, and I'm just lightly pressing it into her skin. I like to use the contour and the sculpting shade together just because the contour shade is a little too dark and too harsh, and I don't ever want it to look crazy. So I just mix them together and then lightly dust off some before I'd apply it to her face. To set the remaining areas of her face, I'm using my Black Radiance pressed powder, and it's in the shade Ebony. And I like to apply this to the edge of my contour and the edge of my highlight just to make sure everything meshes together well in the end. I'm taking that same Black Radiance pressed powder and I'm using it to sculpt out her nose. And I'm also taking this on the same brush that I use to buff everything out on her eyes. So, like I said, I like to use these brushes for everything. So if you're interested, the link will be in the description box down below. Now I'm using whatever excess powder is left on that sponge, and I'm just blending out her nose contour with it. I'm applying a little bit of blush to her skin. This blush was from my Juvia's Place to Her and Blush palette. I'm taking the burgundy and the orange shade together and just mixing them on this powder brush. I'm going to go in and set everything in place using my setting spray. I applied her highlighter and lined her waterline off camera, so now I'm just getting into the lips. Y'all know I love doing ombre lips, so I'm lining her lips using my LA Colors dark brown eyebrow pencil. And since this is an ombre lip, I'm going to outline her lips first, and then I'm going to go in the center of her lips with my Absolute New York lip gloss. I believe it's in the shade Nude. Once I've re-outlined her lips, we're going to basically be getting into her grand reveal and y'all's. So I'm just going to let y'all watch. Period. As y'all can see, she loved the look. Now we're getting into y'all's grand reveal, and I told her that I was gonna save this part for the end, just so y'all can be as stunned as I was. Like, y'all, my girl got blonde and red hair. Like, my girl got blonde and red hair, and it looks so cute on her. This look complimented it so well. I hope y'all were as stunned as me. I hope y'all did not skip to the end, and that y'all actually allowed it to be a grand reveal. But this is the clip that I got on my phone. She looks so pretty. My girl's a whole Barbie out here. But this is the end